Alright, welcome back to Pokepedia, and we are into the next Pokemon Diglett and Dugtrio. Remember to like if you like, and subscribe down below for more videos. So of course, the schedule for today is going over the basic stats of Diglett and its evolution Dugtrio, the battling and killing mechanics of each, the leveling and evolving of a Diglett into a Dugtrio process, and of course the tips and tricks and biome spawns of each Pokemon. Of course, we are going to be coming at this like Pokemon is not just a battle simulator and is a more survival-esque game similar to Power World and Ark Survival. So without further ado, let's get into it. So of course the basics of Diglett, it is number 50 on the Pokédex. It is evolution basic with its stage 1 evolution being Dugtrio. It is type ground, phenotype is mole, it has a height of 0.08 feet with a weight of 1.8 pounds. Its role is consumer and type is herbivore since it only eats tree roots. Of course, Diglett has two types of stats. It has the base stats found in the Pokédex for the battle simulator, but in reality, in order to make a Pokemon survival game, we have to flesh out those stats a little bit more. So the Pokédex base stats are it has an HP score of 1, attack score 4, defense score 2, speed score 6, and special attack and defense of 3 each. Of course, when we flesh out those stats into a more survival game feel, we give it a health of 10. It is an infinite stamina stat because it burrows underground, meaning its speed is pretty much infinite while underground. Not speed, but its movement ability underground. It is a food points of 50, speed of 3 miles per hour, and an attack of 20 with a defense of 0 to 40%, a special attack of 35 with a special defense of 0 to 70%. And of course, in the battling and killing section, even though both are herbivores, Diglett and Dugtrio still optional kill, as you have two options when casting them. If you throw with your right hand, it'll cause them to battle a Pokemon, trying to either feint it or allowing you to capture it in a Pokeball. If you throw with your left hand, that will cause them to attempt to kill a nearby Pokemon, so of course be careful with which option you choose. Of course, the killing process for killing a wild Diglett or Dugtrio is of these loot tables. If you kill a wild Diglett in the wild, you'll have a chance of getting 2 to 3 pieces of sand, 3 to 5 stones, and 2 to 3 pieces of dirt, which can be used to make crop plots. Of course, if you kill a Dugtrio, the loot is kind of more advanced because Dugtrio is more harder to kill and can burrow deeper into the ground, meaning instead of just a couple stones, you'll get 7 to 10 pieces of stone, 2 to 5 pieces of salt, and 3 metal ore. This metal ore can be any type of ore: iron, gold, copper, or coal. And of course, as always, it is a survival game, so of course there's going to be leveling. You gain XP points for doing 3 things with each Pokemon, earned from either winning battles, healing the Pokemon with items, or meeting and breeding those Pokemon. Of course, when your Pokemon does level up, its health, attack, speed, and defense stats all upgrade, and its XP bar increases by a percentage, making it harder to level it up to harder levels. Of course, with every 3 to 7 levels, a new move is able to be learned, meaning you'll have to sacrifice one of your 4 moves to learn a new one. And of course, every 5 levels, your special attack and defense upgrade. Of course, since it is also a Pokemon game, you have to think about evolution. Of course, a level 30 to 50 Diglett has the chance to evolve into its stage 1 evolution of Dugtrio. When the evolution stats upgrades, instead of a normal ×2, it is a ×3 because a Dugtrio is made up of 3 overpowered Digletts, meaning that when it does evolve, it triples all stats increased when it evolves, and new moves are guaranteed to be learned. Of course, some tips and tricks to use with these Pokemon is Force Sand Demons. When in a sandstorm, 2 of their passive abilities trigger, gaining a 30% damage boost and 50% evasiveness boost while in a sandstorm, meaning that they have a better time killing Pokemon and better time avoiding attacks. Of course, Digletts act like Tremors from the movie Tremors. They cannot burrow under rocks, so if you want to avoid them, you can climb onto rocks so they can't burrow underneath you and attack you. Of course, both of them can be used as organic traps, as they can be used as hidden traps, as they can burrow underground indefinitely, while being able to move instantly underground as well, meaning you can put them near your base underground and ambush any unsuspecting enemy trying to sneak in. Of course, it's great to use their burrowing stat, as when burrowing they have double speed and gain speed while burrowing in the same direction, meaning they gain momentum, and they also are immune to above ground damage. Meaning if a bunch of rockets are coming at them, just burrow underground, and you will be saved from those attacks. Of course, Dugtrio has a passive skill on it that you can learn at higher levels called Arena Trap, which will stop and forbid Pokemon from fleeing from the battlefield. Of course, Digletts and Dugtrio also can use their burrowing to break structures, as Digletts can burst through wooden structures when surfing, while Dugtrio can break any structure, meaning that both of them can be used to break apart bases, with Dugtrio being used for stone or metal bases. And of course, finally, Digletts will spawn in certain types of biomes as well as Dugtrio, though rarer than a Diglett spawn. Of course, we have the 5 different spawn rates as seen here, with blue being guaranteed to find them, green being very likely to find them, yellow likely to find them, a few to find them, and then rare to find. So of course, the biomes you can find a Diglett, you are very likely to find them in the plains and desert biomes. You can find a few of them in the mountains and the Mesa biome. That's of course opposed to a Dugtrio, which is likely to spawn in Mesa and mountains opposed to the Diglett, but rare to find in the desert and badland biomes. You cannot find these in the plains. And of course, that's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you again so much for watching. Like if you like, dislike if you don't, subscribe if you like the video, comment down below your thoughts on Diglett and Dugtrio, and also in Pokemon the Battle Simulator, but also this Pokemon survival game. And of course, I'll see you guys with the next Pokemon. Toodaloo!